Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching. Happy Mr. Apollo. So glad that you got to take the walk, and I'm glad you guys gave me a couple minutes here. Welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for Aquarius. I know many of you are having birthdays, so happy birthday. We're looking at the month of February. As always, we do 1 month ahead. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule. I'm going to put down Apollo so we can begin. And good to see everybody. Really is. Happy New Year if I haven't already said that in one of our sign-specific readings so far. So welcome, everyone. If you are watching live, you'll have a chance to also vote. I'm not going to show all of the decks today just to kind of save some time, so you can click on the link on my website if you're not familiar with them. And when it comes time to get into the Celtic Cross, we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and jump into channeled messages. I always like to begin with some messages directly coming from Spirit. And today it was some really good energy for your sign. We're going to be talking about trailblazing, and then something that I guess those of you that might be familiar with planning, maybe like park planning or architecture, it's called a desire path. A lot of times when there's someone who builds something, an architect, for instance, or any sort of zoning or planning, they kind of try to predict what people want, but people have their own patterns and their own desires. So we'll talk about kind of paying attention to what's going on around you so that you can adapt to what people really want. So that'll kind of help you in your ability to be a trailblazer. And that's really what this is about this month for you, being a trailblazer. So in dreams, that's what I was seeing basically was kind of like a path up a mountain, and like a dirt path, one that was man-made. And so this is representing a period of movement and change for you, but it does require you being ready, willing, and able to step outside of your comfort zone. So essentially embracing the Six of Swords energy, getting out, exploring, seeing what's possible. And things such as innovation, education, exploration, and expansion all come along with this. But you never know what's possible until you basically get out and see what's out there. So for some of you, this could come simply from an understanding that you've outgrown something, and you're driven internally to see what's there. Or there could be environmental changes and movements that are happening that also kind of push you. This could be an ending of a job or a contract. This could be an opportunity or an invitation to move for growth or education. No matter how you look at it, it's exciting, but it does require movement. And the Six of Swords can also be a card of kind of mourning what's lost as you're moving through the change. So I think it's exciting, but I'm also kind of validating any experiences of, can I do this? How will I do this? The key to this is risk assessment. And I chose 2 different Fool cards. And by the way, all the cards that I'm selecting are from today's decks. So the top one from the Spellcaster's Tarot is basically showing just taking that leap without doing anything. And sometimes we do that, we wing it. But it can be a little bit tricky if you don't do the sort of necessary homework. The bottom one is showing what happens when everything works out perfectly. And we have like the green man here. And this is from Green Witch Tarot. And basically growth, abundance. And that's kind of what the Fool card represents. It's a leap of faith. It's risk assessment, and anything in life that's worth doing carries with it an opportunity cost and an associated risk. And so as long as you do some of the homework in advance, I think you'll be in a good place. Don't let fear alone paralyze you, but educate yourself, prepare for the next step, and know that that's going to really help you maximize opportunity, okay? Ask questions. This is basically really nicely connected to today's card. When I did the single card pull, it was the Queen of Swords. And basically, she's not afraid to ask a question, and she just gets straight in there, because sometimes we're so worried about looking like we're not prepared or looking dumb, but actually there are no dumb questions. The main thing is smart leaders, insightful leaders are willing to ask questions and say, I'm not familiar with this, or are we sure we've looked at this, this, and this? I have questions, I have concerns, or I need more information before I'm willing to commit time, energy, and resources to this. It's okay to say, I need more. You don't have to say, I don't know. And no one's going to judge you poorly for asking an insightful question. So basically, this is your chance to do that before you leap, and basically to get more of the green man energy that we see at the bottom than the spellcaster one where he's just leaping off a cliff. That could be a cliff that's this steep or this steep, and we want to make sure that you're prepared for the unknown. All right, now let's talk a little bit about desire paths. So I remember reading about this once before, and basically, if you ever look in a like a public park, or even just anything like a corporate park or something like that, a lot of times you'll see this paved path, but sometimes the paths are not convenient. So this happens a lot on college campuses, for instance. You'll see these square paths leading to places, and the students are just going to go down the middle or diagonal. And so whoever was planning this wasn't thinking like an average human being. They were thinking, this looks nice geometrically, or this will cost less if we put the material here. And what we really need to look at is human habits and desires for what feels right, what makes sense, what's going to be easiest. So if you're gonna take a, sort of a leap of faith, the full moment, and you're gonna develop a product, develop a service, grow something that hasn't been done before, take a look at where other people have been ignoring the trends. And that's basically what a desire path also represents, as a trend. And if you can sort of see that mark in the sand or mark in the ground, it's like, you know what? A lot of people are going in this direction, but all that's available is this. Why don't I do that? This can also be a way that you could be successful in your life. Just because all your friends and family are doing one thing, if your desire is bringing you in this one space, and you sort of have this common feeling like, I need to go in this direction, then explore that. The fun thing as I was doing research is sometimes just 24 people roughly can start to create one of these paths in the ground. So you don't have to look for a lot of indication. It's just a little bit of movement in one direction, and then this is how you can be more innovative. Now, if we take this on a different level, look at the areas of your life that you keep repeating patterns and ask yourself, what am I seeking here? Maybe there's relationship patterns, work patterns, or even money patterns, and you're thinking, I don't like that, or I really like this. How can I do more of that? So this is just tuning in and paying attention to the patterns. So I kind of like this Two of Wands because we're looking at something that's already lined up for us, and it's just waiting for you to kind of put the pieces together, okay? This next question is super important, and it's like, what is home could be part of this too. Do you feel at home in your current relationship, in your current job, the place that you're living? Do you feel comfortable in your own skin, in your own shoes? Or is there something that you feel like, I need to shift so that I can be more myself? One thing that I learned last year, because I had to move a lot, I had a lot of addresses over the course of the year, is that a GPS point, a physical address, a zip or postal code, it does not define what home is. That's simply geography. That's simply a place where you're paying a bill so that you can stay. What defines home is a sense of being able to take a deep breath, feeling like you're safe, feeling comfortable, feeling supported, feeling loved. And that can be anywhere on the planet or in the universe. So home is a lot less physical than we think it is. The metaphysical piece of it is comfort and happiness and safety. The physical piece could be sustainability, like this is something that sustains me. The safety also extends to that place as well. But if you start to look at home in a looser term, it's not just one place on the planet. Then you start to sort of see, like, I could be at home anywhere if I feel comfortable, supported, and like I am doing what I want to do, and I'm comfortable with myself. So the Queen of Pentacles comes through because she's not just a card of wealth, she's also domestic bliss. And so when the two are in harmony, then both of them flourish. So if you feel more at home, if you feel more secure, if you planted some roots, even if you travel a lot, if you have places where you can just sort of ground yourself, it's going to be sort of exponentially beneficial for relationships, for money, and just for your general health and well-being. So that's why she's connected to the home as well. You need to be at home where you're at, even if it's not a physical place. So create that sense of that state of mind of being at home. Okay. And I think we have one more. And this was connected to the daily card pull, the Queen of Swords coming through, basically saying, you know, and I can't remember, was it the Queen or the King today? But either way, I know we had a Swords card. Speak up, speak out, do so more often. Don't let things sort of build up in your life. That's the one thing that we'll take away from this card here, is basically sometimes we're afraid of stepping on people's toes. We're afraid of what people might think if we say something. Again, fear being a key potential block that I want to help you guys get past this month. So when you have an opportunity to basically say something in a constructive and a meaningful way, do it. The Queen of Swords reminds us of the importance of delegation, negotiation, and collaboration. She's going to use her communication and her active sort of energy to affect positive change in her life. She doesn't wait for someone else to do it. It's not always easy to do, but it's important to do. And this card would be associated with you, also with other air signs, but particularly you, because it has this sort of active and communicative energy, which is very Aquarius. So I feel like you're going to be able to have this beautiful springboard of energy as we go into February. And I'm getting very interested to see what the cards have to show here. Before we do that, let's quickly review, and then we'll get into the Celtic Cross. So if you've been sitting and waiting and thinking, I'm ready for a change, good news is we're going to start to see that coming through in February. Pay attention to pre-existing markers and paths, because you're not going to have to invent this from scratch. Yes, you're a trailblazer. You're trying something different. You might be the first in your group of friends or family to go in a direction. That doesn't make it any more scary or less, sort of desirable for you. In fact, it's possibly the opposite. It could be exhilarating. It could be exactly what you need. You're just the first. You're the first to try something new. Or you're willing for the first time to take a step in a direction that you've just been procrastinating on. Six of Swords energy came through pretty strong with this. This will lead to innovation, expansion, and a bunch of new things in your life. It's absolutely pertinent to look at risks, to create a security net beneath you, to ask questions, and basically use the butterflies to help you fly rather than to sort of like just have an upset stomach. Looking for existing patterns is going to be key in your life and external things. This is going to help you with business. This is going to also help you with self-improvement. Remembering now that if you needed to take that Six of Swords or full leap into something new, then you're going to be okay, because you can be at home anywhere. It's not just a space. It can also be a place in the heart. And speak up. Act according to what you need to do. Create some change in your life. People are looking for someone to do it, and this is your month to really step in as a leader. Okay, so the next portion I'm going to take a look at is the Celtic Cross. Here's the whole outline of everything that I'm going to look at. Let's see which deck you've selected for me. It looks like we're going to be looking at the Modern Spellcaster's Tarot. That's a great choice, and it's probably the one I would have chosen. But I always like to give you guys a chance to say what you're interested in, since it's your reading as well. All right, let me get everything set up here and we will begin. Quick note, if you like what you see here, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe. You can also follow me across social media, where I'll post reminders of what I've done and what I'm about to do. Remember, I don't offer, sorry, wrong card here. I don't offer private readings. I basically also, it's not on this one here because I changed up my software here, but I don't offer private readings. I don't use direct messages. Anybody that's doing that, you want to ignore. And if you'd like to give back, thank you in advance for doing so. All right, let's begin. Let's zoom in and get started on the Celtic Cross. Again, good to see everybody. Glad you're here. All right, just give me 1 second to get everything aligned here and then we'll begin. Okay, let's get started here. By the way, thanks. I'm glad that some of you maybe are just seeing the backdrop for the first time. Once I get everything set up in the other room, maybe I'll do some impromptus from there. I also have like a fireplace and it's a nice warm setting, but this is the only room that's completely set up at this moment. Okay, so let's look at your main card here. We have the beaver coming through here in your catalyst, and this is a card of building. And what I also like about the beaver card is it connects to a couple of different elements. So for those of you that are feeling blocked energetically, emotionally, sometimes it's because we build our own emotional dam or block, right? And so this is saying, take a look at the work that you've done to sometimes create that own mental or emotional block and say, has it served its higher purpose? Is it just fear again that's holding me back? If there's anything where emotionally also you feel like, I'm not sure if I can do it, this card is coming through to remind you that you are an architect, you are a builder, you absolutely can. It's really just about channeling the emotions into more of a creative and an empowered vision rather than I can't. It's a how can I, or when will I, or who can I connect with to make this happen. More sort of able-minded and action-based rather than that feeling of helplessness or hopelessness. We really want to turn it around and use the emotions to build rather than to basically sort of like make you feel overwhelmed. And sometimes you need to reach out for help with that. You know, it's something that each of us kind of develop on our own. Okay, let me get a tissue and then we're going to move on to the center of the cards. I'll let you look at them while I do that. I have my tissues here. Whenever I walk Apollo in the morning, the temperature difference between outside and inside always makes my nose run a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so your center card is a quite empowered one right now. We have the Empress card here. She's reversed. So whenever I get something like the Empress in reverse, it's really saying you have not only permission but encouragement from the universe to do something that is supporting and healing and helpful for yourself. If we look in the corner, we can see what looks like possibly a moth just because of the size of it. And that's basically saying, you know, give yourself time to move into change of heart, change of mind, change of environment. All of these things require a little bit of getting, basically acclimation to that. For all of us, it's going to take a little bit of time and it can always shift a bit. This is also saying if you need something, support, information, money, whatever, speak up and ask and say, hey, I could really use some support in this area, or I'd love your feedback here, or what do you think about this? She's not afraid to ask for what's important, just like the Queen of Swords, the Empress. Any of the Queen cards are willing and ready to say, I need this to feel supported, especially the Empress, because she's the ultimate card for symbolizing divine feminine. So if you need something to get something done, if you need something to feel supported, if something's missing from the equation, this is the time to bring it back into balance. We have a lovely card crossing that, which is the Six of Cups. We don't get to see the other person on this one. Typically in the Six of Cups, you would see two children, and they would be super happy and just kind of playfully, energetically in a daytime sort of like picture. But with just the one person here, there's a different message coming from Spirit, which is, you're doing the work right now to set the stage for what I was just describing. Friendship, partnership, or celebration, because those are all the things that the Six of Cups can represent in a nutshell. And right now, what you have to do is just basically recognize, I'm ready, I'm deserving, and I'm able to bring this energy in. And I am my own best partner in this moment in time. And that's going to, and both of these cards are super empowered. And they kind of represent the call and answer here. One of the things that needs to be done to bring in the partner is not feeling like you have to do everything for everyone, not feeling like you have to work to a point of exhaustion, not feeling like it's okay for others to take without returning, basically setting up that balance that could be lacking for some of you. And then reciprocating for those of you that have been able to receive bountiful energy and opportunity, give back a little bit of service. And then that brings in the partnership or that great celebration that wants to come in. So a little bit of work on this on oneself brings in, for many of you, what could be love, friendship, opportunity, good stuff with the Six of Cups. The other thing here is that there's an opportunity to heal maybe a childhood wound or a friendship that you've kind of let go of. But this is the general card. It's one of the best in the minor arcana. It's basically friendship, love, happiness, celebration. But there is oftentimes a close bond. So I find it curious, interesting, and I think powerful that we only see one of the two characters here. So you're starting to embody what's necessary to bring in the twin energy. And it could be sibling, it could be karmic, it could be partnership, but it's coming, okay? And we'll look at the cards to see if we can get some markers on how and when. And when I say how and when, you're not going to get an exact date. The how will dictate the when. So just to kind of clarify that. All right. Deep past, Nine of Cups, upright, good. This is a card that says you have been working hard to basically find the positive things in life, to see like the sunny side of the street, the blessings. One thing with the Nine of Cups here is sometimes there's an expectation that everything or every moment has to be perfect, like red letter moments from beginning of the day to the end of the day. And that's not realistic always. There are moments where we are challenged, where we are pushed, where we are disappointed. Oftentimes they can be just as, if not more important than the moments that are perfect, because it's during that period of time that our true sort of energy is tested and shown. So stay positive, stay focused on what's going in the right direction. And if you have one or two setbacks, just look at how far you've come and continue to stay positive about the movement made already. So like a gratitude journal can help here, or again, just sort of talking something through and saying, this is, in the moment, this is challenging me and upsetting me, but I can see how it's going to possibly help me. A lot of times we need that itch or agitation in order to deal with something so it doesn't get worse. So pay attention to that as well. All right. I mentioned that there's a call and answer sort of energy. We could already see it here. And now we have it here. So the Lovers card. Relationships have been playing an important part across a few different star signs this month. Yours is one of them. So we have the Lovers, but the card is reversed. So one of the things we're looking at here is in existing relationships, which I'll go into all of this later, but existing relationships, basically looking and seeing if it feels like there's reciprocity. For those of you that might be receiving love for the first time in a while, not second guessing your deservedness of that. And also just understanding that a simple truth, which is people are just as lucky to have you as you are to have that person in your life. You're attracting these beautiful opportunities in your life. So never second guess or underestimate your value. If something isn't good enough for you, then say what, again, the Empress and the Lovers reverse is saying you love yourself enough to walk away from something that isn't quite right, from someone who isn't ready to give you what you need, or from something that isn't quite on the level of giving and receiving, lacking reciprocity, lacking the return on the energetic investment. But I will say this, and I'm just going to kind of scan ahead here. It does look like it's a good month to successfully navigate and or attract and or work with love and relationships. If we just looked at these three across the center, never mind the fact that we have one of the best cards for partnership right on top of it. We have love, the Lovers, the Empress, and the Six of Wands. So love, self-care, and power, or we could just say love, power, and success. It's three of the best words and energies that one could want in past, present, and future. And the outcome is Seven of Pentacles, which is basically saying you are going to have to pay attention to resource management this month, because the Lovers can be people knocking on the door saying, hey, can you do this? And hey, we want that. A great job with this. I'm going to put you on this. And like, you could be doing such a good job in aspects of your life that people see you as a mover and a shaker that they want. If we just turn these upright, this is saying someone appreciates you. They want you to lead. They know you're going to do a good job, Six of Wands. And you just have to remind them that this is a 50-50, this is a partnership. So I like what I see here. It is a great month to call in partnerships. I think in a large part, this can also be applied to business. And the key thing here is that you're going to work hard and it's going to pay off. And I like what I see here. The only thing is taking care of yourself, Four of Swords in the environment. I think it's going to be difficult to say no for some of you because there's so much going on. Let's look at your crowning card here. The transformative Phoenix rising from the ashes here. The Nine of Wands. So you may have been pushed back, beaten down, sort of said that 3 or 4 times over that you couldn't do it. And we have this sort of ballet dancer with the Phoenix behind him saying, look at with dignity and grace, how I'm going to lead the charge and show, in fact, that I can. It's such a graceful version of the Nine of Wands. Normally in the Nine of Wands, the person has a bandage over their forehead and they're a little grumpy. And they're like, are really this again? And the contrast on this card is, I have been planning and training my whole life for this. So yeah, let's do this because this time it's going to work out. This time I know exactly what to do. It's kind of like what happens when we sometimes say, if I could only go back and talk to a previous version of myself. Well, we kind of get to do that, but in a future sense. Like if you've done it 2 or 3 times, something, if you've had if you look at the desire paths in your life and the disappointments and the sort of all of that, you see patterns. The next time an event comes through, you know what you're going to want to do, what other people are going to want to do, and you're going to know what didn't work before. All it is really about is applying the knowledge in this moment. If you can do that, then like this Phoenix here, you can rise up and you're going to surprise people. Not everyone, but some people that, wow, they didn't give up, did they? Not only that, but success is the best way of showing people, look at me, I did this. I don't believe in getting even. I just believe in having a successful and happy life. That's the best form of showing somebody because nobody's hurt in that process. In fact, you just proved to yourself that you can. So this month, so far, what I like is that we see positive energy as a very attractive force, your ability to lead and finish things successfully, good leadership potential here as well, good energy when it comes to love, lots of good things in the mix, folks. The main thing here is the can-do sort of attitude that the beaver teaches us, which is, I'm going to build this. It might take one step at a time, but it's worth it. I'm going to keep pushing until I see whatever it is that I'm trying to get done, completed to fruition. And this is what we see as you this month, and it's the Page of Swords in reverse. So speaking up, correcting, clarifying, questioning, revising, doing what you need to do to make sure that this is right for you. Even when the card is upright, you can tell she's like, this and not that. Let's cut this out. So very active, very vocal Page of Swords. She's not negative. In fact, what you're going to do is be constructive with your criticism. This is kind and this is critical. They are not mutually exclusive. You can be kind and offer constructive criticism. Say, I like the direction. I think we need to improve this, and I think we missed this in the research. Let's pull them together and we have something magical. That's good criticism. Or saying like, I appreciate this effort and this, but the timing's off. What if we do it tomorrow? So it's basically, and it's not sugarcoating. You want to receive that on the receiving, and you want to hear that someone could kind of sense the intention, like just putting some empathy and some kindness. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It really does, actually. There are times where you need to just say no, and you'll know when to do that too. The Page of Swords knows exactly when to just say, no, that's not what I asked for. Or no, I already told you this. This is especially for people that are trying to put Seven of Swords energy in, but I'm not seeing that, folks. So I really do feel like you can be kind, you can be constructive, you can be active, you can get most of what you want here, which is good. Here's the only thing that's getting in the way, which is rest. And I just recently covered the Four of Swords in one of the daily card reads for the past week or so. And I said that rest it's kind of this magical card because there are a few death cards that can come through. Four of Swords, Six of Swords, transformation, death. With the Four of Swords, we get to do it every day, multiple times a day through meditation. We can do it every night through sleep. We can also do it through an emotional practice, which is just letting go. And and time also, I took my watch off, but every second that passes is a Four of Swords moment. It takes you one step further away from a painful memory, one step towards something opportunistic, something exciting, something new. So that's how the Four of Swords works. Time, sometimes cognitive release, and sometimes just saying, I'm going to stop for a moment. I just need to rest and be present. So if you can stop, recharge, and just let time heal some things, then all the butterflies around her crown chakra can be yours as well. You can feel, like I said, they'll come from your stomach up through the crown, and you'll feel free. And it is just taking it easy. So take it easy. Give yourself a break. Do something fun. When was the last time you just, slept in or didn't push yourself to a deadline or just had some fun with a friend? Make some time now. In hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the Five of Cups reversed. Look at how beautifully this Five of Cups is illustrated. We see that sort of galloping wave of energy symbolized by the water. And all these horses kind of almost like stallions or, can't think of the other word, but yeah, wild Mustangs or whatever, galloping through her head. It's an interesting metaphor for the Five of Cups because we can sometimes let our thoughts we can get carried away in that. And typically what the Five of Cups represents is an opportunity for a mental reset. So what I would look at in this moment is what is going as planned and what you're really seeing progress with. And let's put it in a different sort of context to the traditional card, but where is there turbulence or friction or this sort of undercurrent that is trying to bring you away from or out of the required action? If you can focus on letting go of those energies that take you in I don't want to say it's in the wrong direction, but sort of are counterproductive or you're swimming against the current, you're going to be able to, just like we see in the traditional card, you can walk over that bridge that's right behind him. Take the two cups representing progress, opportunity, and partnership, by the way, and say, all right, let's do this. Let's make it work. I'm ready. There's always a clear path behind him. He just has to be ready for that. And in this card, what we also see is if you can get all of those horses going in the right direction, it's a lot like the building energy that I was talking about here. Basically, getting all of that focused so that rather than part of your energy being here and part of it being here, you can bring it together and make a bigger impact. I really like that. So there's a perspective shift that needs to happen. Something didn't go as planned, but something is. Not only that, but someone also has your back. And in the traditional illustration, we see the two cups behind the person. And if we look at your cards today, we have multiple partnership cards here, but the Six of Cups and the Lovers being among them. There's usually two people in both of those cards. But interestingly enough, she only sees herself in this card. There could be a relationship in your life right now where the person doesn't see you and realize what they have and vice versa. So for some of you, there's just this understanding like, wow, I haven't really said how much I feel about this person, or we need a moment just to sort of like celebrate how much we mean to each other. Sometimes we don't realize that until the person's gone. So this is a good time to sort of hit the reset and say, this is right or this isn't right, and figure out what to do with that. Let me take a quick drink, and then we're going to move on to the next card, which is the outcome. As we look at the outcome card, we have the Seven of Pentacles. This is going to be a really important card because it is a card of growth and recovery. I was talking to a family member the other day, or a friend, close friend actually, and I don't do private readings, but for close family members, I don't mind pulling a card, or a really close friend. And I brought this card up for them, and they were disappointed. And I said, don't be disappointed with the Seven of Pentacles. It represents, first of all, it represents more than enough, and it represents recovery. But what it also can indicate is that you're still healing. Like as I was walking the dog today, even last night, my foot, and I need to get my physical therapy lined up, but I was feeling a little bit of pain. I'm like, yeah, it's normal. It's going to be there for a few more months. Recovery, whether it's your bones or your emotions or your finances, it takes time. And there's times where it feels really good, and there's times where you have to pay attention to things. So the Seven of Pentacles is a pressure test. What I like about the way that this one is illustrated is we see someone that's pregnant here, and it's basically saying, close to the outcome here, but not quite. Imagining maybe someone that's 7 months pregnant. Very close. You don't want to rush. You have to sort of nurture and take care and focus on yourself and sustaining. So with the Seven of Pentacles, what you can do in your own life basically is carry over the lessons from the Six, which is saying yes to what matters, no to what doesn't, saving up and planning for the future, and also not overcommitting. And this is the number one thing that happens here. I mentioned that this card is like, a sister or cousin card to the Seven of Swords because it's good intentions. It's sort of like you want to please people, but sometimes you will say that you can do all these things to all these people or for all these people, like at work. So yeah, I can do this, I can do that. And yeah, I'll pick up that person, I'll do this. And all of a sudden your schedule's full and you realize, okay, I'm in trouble now. I can't do all this stuff. You've overcommitted time, energy, and other resources. So better to be on the more conservative side of this and say, you know what? I have 4 other things that I've promised to do today. Let me put this on my possibility bucket list for today. I can't promise today. Tomorrow looks pretty likely, but if I can get to it, I will, but I'm not making any promises. That's a better way of exercising the Seven of Pentacles. Or simply saying, no, but Thursday or Friday works for me, or Monday works. What's best for you? I can't do today though. So either put a hard limit or say, I can't promise to get this done. That's going to give you clarity and freedom from the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords happens when you say you're going to do something and you don't. Whether it is on purpose or accidental, there are different variances of it, but you don't want to do that. So yeah, basically just be mindful and don't overextend. If you can do that, then all of this positive energy that we've looked at here will stay in place and put you in a better trajectory, bring you to the 8, 9, and 10 of Pentacles. Okay, let's go ahead now and expand this forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. As I do this, a standard disclaimer here, which is I'm not a replacement for a psychologist, a financial advisor, or a doctor. I'm here to look at energy and to partner up with you to kind of help you see what's possible. You, however, are going to be the one that decides what you do. All right, with that being said, your health card is about looking at what scares you, what hasn't been laid out. So we have the shadow card, but the shadow card comes through as a healing energy. And we can see sort of like eclipse energy, almost like a new moon in the middle. And the interesting thing with whenever a shadow moment comes through, a lot of times that indicates where the light is coming from. I mentioned this before. I think I even have a quote in my book, but wherever there's a shadow, you know there's a light source. There's often something that is blocking your view to that. So when you see the shadow, trace it back to the source of the block, and then you can get back to the light source. So the shadow needs to be dealt with. It could simply be your inner child saying, I'm afraid. It could be something financial or legitimate saying, this is a block. We have to fix this before you can get what you want. But the shadow's not to be feared. It's to be understood. It's to be defined. And sometimes that's all this is. And we don't see a fearful-based card here either. It's just saying, find what the source is, peel the curtain back and see what lies beneath. Once you do, then fear's replaced with knowledge, and then that leads away to empowerment, your inner magician energy, and then insight, the high priestess. So all you have to do is ask or explore or find someone to hold your hand as you look at whatever this is and get the information that you need. So in health, it could be something that you're afraid of, a family history of something. It could be something that you're ignoring, but you know you need to pay attention to. It could just be fear or uncertainty itself, which again, through counseling can be dealt with. All right, let's take a look now at the cards and see if there's anything else that comes through. Whenever the Nine of Wands appears, it's a reminder that if you're holding on to a lot of work-related anxiety or a lot of pressure, it can basically focus itself in your crown chakra. So migraines, headaches, pressure headaches, TMJ, grinding, all that sort of stuff where your head is basically feeling the intensity of the pressure. So stress management is key. Okay, so anything you can do to help with stress management that works for you, that's a good thing in this moment in time. We have a lot of cards here focusing on the belly. Empress is often shown pregnant. The Seven of Pentacles is in this deck. Some of you may be pregnant. Some of you may also just be dealing with some power struggles because the Empress would definitely connect to solar plexus energy. And so many children, well, not so many children, but this child card on top of it could also be healing, like I said, a wound from the past, parent-child healing, something of that nature as well. Let's see. The pressure to succeed is definitely coming through. Like, there's a lot of people with eyes on you and you want to do what's best, but focus on doing what's right, not just what's right for them. As we continue to live our existence on this planet, at the end of your days, it's really you and the creator that's looking back on your life and saying, how did it track? Was it what I planned it to be? You're really your own judge. So make sure that you feel happy about this and that you're not vicariously fulfilling someone else's dreams. This is your life to live. The good news here is most of the cards are manageable. I think the one thing to focus on is sleep. Are you getting enough rest? Are you dealing okay with stress and maybe with 1 or 2 disappointments here and there? Can you shift the focus into something productive? And basically not rushing recovery. Recovery takes time. Financial, health, emotional, and physical. Everything takes time, so don't rush it. There's nothing here that's presenting as something to sort of focus on or worry about. So I actually feel pretty good. Anything that you're dealing with, reach out and get some help if you need to, because all 3 of these cards show people. The Lovers, the Six of Cups, and the Six of Wands would be resources in your life that are there. And just get the rest that you need. Okay, moving along from health to wealth. This is an interesting card, and it reminds me of the moments like right before sunrise. We're looking kind of like at also something coming from the shadows here too. So for some of you, we talked about trailblazing. You may have to go down that path of discovery, leave no leaf unturned, and that's kind of what I'm getting with this as well. So a new day, kind of opening up and looking underneath the leaves to see what's there, and really allowing for yourself to kind of just explore. This is a time to explore, and a lot of the energy that we looked at the very beginning is all about exploration. So let's look at the cards here and see we'll kind of break it down into 2 different categories: those that are working, those that might not be working, might be retired, etc. Okay, if you're working, the main thing that I see here is a lot of give. A lot of people sort of asking and not a lot of you taking or you receiving, because this card is saying I need. This is all of these need to sort of like receive. So in this period of time, the big thing for you, the big opportunity for you is to state intentions, state desires, state need. You have a good chance of steering trajectory here. So if you happen to be doing an annual review for your boss, like your boss is meeting with you and asking you for what it is that you want to do, we see a good chance of getting something that you ask for. So I like that. But yeah, there's a lot of people around you that are willing to take. Make sure that you're willing to ask for what you need. You're also willing to receive. I think it's a good time to launch something, by the way. We talked about, taking that leap of faith. The Six of Wands is a great card for success. So you don't have to do this alone. There could be a partnership. I think you have the capacity to do something if you want to launch this. And I think that the only thing to look at is to really firm up the financials. So make sure that you get enough funding, and make sure that if there's not ample time or money, that you sort of phase out or release on something. For those of you also just looking at your current jobs, here's what I see. This is a very interesting read for some of you, but what I see is sleepy energy, boredom, and I see success, and I see hard work. So if we put this together, busy but bored, or working really hard but not any longer sort of in love with it. Sort of the thrill is gone here. And it feels like you're doing this, for many of you, to kind of like to achieve some financial goals. But again, there's this inner sort of tug of war happening. And I think it is time to make some plans and make some decisions and maybe see where there's some efficiencies, so that you're going to be okay in the long run, and that maybe if you need to cut some ties or do something different, you can. The good news here is that if you have an existing job, it looks okay to me. The main thing here is there's not a lot of development or movement or growth. We're kind of seeing this financially in the markets, right? I listen to the news too. I don't just look at the cards. So I've been hearing about all the tech layoffs, And I think we're in a little bit of a financial adjustment based on what I'm hearing. Standard disclaimers here. I'm not a financial advisor, but this connects nicely with all of that. It's a slowdown. So I get it. Some of you may be bored, but there's not a lot of other options. So what I did during that period, because there was a similar thing for me, that's when I started to develop other skills. I studied yoga, I studied Reiki, I studied tarot. I decided to, 2 years before I quit, I was kind of exploring some other things because my heart was already not connected to the day job. So I would say for you, give yourself time now. You don't have to make an immediate move just because you're bored. It's more of a sort of, the timeline's up to you, right? It doesn't have to happen right now. So make some plans and then wait for this Four of Swords to become the Six of Swords, where you know it's time to move and you have the capacity to do it, okay? If you are retired, the interesting thing here as well is, concern over finances. I can see that. There's a lot of ways to relax and have some fun without having to spend a lot of money. And I think this is true for all of us. So how can you find ways to enjoy, be present, have a good time, also being mindful of the budget? I think for everybody this month, whether you're employed, unemployed, or retired, what's coming through here is that anything you put your energy behind, you have a good chance of seeing some positive traction there with the Six of Wands. If you're a student, the one thing that I'm picking up on here right now is to make sure that the path that you outline for yourself, you have this feeling like you're steering the ship. The Empress is at the center of this helm. And I also feel like it's important to be around people or to do something that impacts people because she's surrounded by positivity in this spread. So it feels like your job has to have like positive ramifications on people, the world, the environment, something like that. So make sure that and also at the end of the day that you're happy with what you're doing. Don't do it for mom. Don't do it because your brother or sister or your friends are doing it. Don't do it because you're expected to. Do it because you love it. And that's something that I'll repeat as much as I can on this channel because it's important. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. So peaceful. It's a peaceful card here. We have the Dove Spirit. For some of you, this represents someone who's passed because this is a card of death and transformation. This is a very peaceful one. Both of these are. So when I get these kind of messages in a read, whether it's someone living or someone that's in spirit, it's saying the connection is clear now, at least from your perspective. And if you were wondering like where they're at, it feels like the other person is at peace. And you don't have to worry so much anymore about that. You can put it to rest. This is also showing the possibility to have peaceful communications, negotiations, and resolutions when it comes to all relationships. With that in mind, let's take a look at those of you that are in a relationship, single and looking, or single and happy. If you're in a loving relationship, there's a deep karmic connection. And this is karma's coming through no matter what, because we have Six of Cups coming in here. So this is showing messages or karma from the past. In existing relationships, if we look in the deep past, it was about not letting the emotions get the better of you. And it's illustrated here this time in the Five of Cups. It's almost like that tendency from the past has almost been cut in half, but sometimes emotions can still get the better of the two of you in a relationship, and you want to be mindful of that. Let's look at what else we see here. Well, first of all, the first card that I'm looking at here for existing relationships is the Four of Swords. I don't mind this in a general spread, but in a relationship spread, things aren't, there's not as much communication. There may not be as much interaction, and it's almost like the other person's just sitting there sometimes with this. So what we need is a little bit of spark in the ignition. We need to kind of create a little bit more joy or love or passion or excitement. So that's one thing that I see is things have fallen into a routine or predictable, or one or both parties are just not putting in the effort as much as they used to. Do I see love? Yeah, deep loves. The Lovers and the Six of Cups. But I see one person that does a lot of giving and another one that does a lot of receiving and not a lot of in between. It's a successful relationship, but we need to fix the reciprocity for those of you that fall into that pattern. For the rest of you, remember, this is your partner, not your child. And it could hit either way. Like maybe you need to remind your partner that you are their partner and you're not their child, because I'm getting someone that wants to get their way, someone that's trying to force someone to do it their way, make their decisions, and listen all the time. And it's give and take. So finding an area of concession, of common ground, sometimes letting the other person do what they want, and vice versa. It's not win or lose. It's not my way or the highway. It's middle ground there. So one narrative is, I see a sleepy time sort of energy where neither party's really putting the energy in. Another one is a parental sort of thing where it's almost like you're mothering or trying to control the other person, and that's not sustainable either. And then the karmic sort of energy, which is emotions getting in the way of just otherwise a harmonious relationship. Can it work out? Absolutely. Success and basically redefining how much is enough and not sort of overextending. So putting some limits and some balance in, and then focusing on the fact that you have built something successful. Conversations and honest dialogue is important. If you're looking for love this month, let's shift the focus. Can you find it? Yes, ... But first, take a break. Second, clear your emotions. Third, I think for many of you, there's something that you're just about to finish, a really successful endeavor or project or thing in your life. Finish this first, possibly in the aftermath of that, a party, or just you having more time to rest. That's when someone new can come into your life. In this period of time, it's really about setting the stage, as we talked about earlier, for the future Six of Cups. Seeing that, it's kind of like that Miley Cyrus song, Flowers, where we see the flowers in the water. It reminded me of that. She's basically saying, I'm cool with myself right now. I can do all of this for myself. And that doesn't mean I don't want somebody, but it also means that I'm finally recognizing that I can do this for myself, with or without someone. So when you can have all of that, then eventually you'll find someone else who has that same energy, and it's a lot freer. You can be free in the ability to not try to control one another or nurture one another. And it's just more sort of like, yeah, we're happy. We can both sit here together and be partners rather than teachers. So you're right on that precipice of calling in a true soulmate, a true partner, without the teaching trappings. And that's one of the best ways to go. Okay, so if you are single and happy, good for you, because it really feels like success and development is coming through here with the Six of Wands. I see some money incoming. I would say plan and invest that wisely, and again, get some rest. So developments with work, it's going to be a good month. Take some time off, save some money. That's for the single folks. You're not alone in any of this, because people, it's all across the center cards. So no matter where you fall in the spectrum of relationships, including if you're divorced, it feels like there's a lot of good people around you. The divorced people I would put in the single and looking, or single and happy. It depends. That's why I don't kind of call it out as its own. But anyway, it looks like a good month, and I see improvements with finances and growth in work as being the central focus if you're not focusing on relationships. All right, let's go to your final card here, which not the final card, but the destiny card, which is the Sun. The Sun is reversed. In tarot, the Sun would indicate birthing. It would be your personality. It is also children in your life. The Sun card here can also represent an ability to take something and reorganize it. I think of what the Sun does in any solar system. And basically what it is the central glue, or kind of like conductor. So if something is not in balance or gravitationally where it needs to be, it gets pulled where it needs to. So you're kind of finding your power. And interestingly enough, I'm wearing a shirt that has a rising sun on it. So this is really about you looking at a new day as a fresh start to create new order. And that's basically what I'm getting with this. And it matches my shirt. I like it. The Sun in reverse can also be not being afraid to be the loudest voice, or to have the boldest idea, or to make a splash. There are times where it makes sense. You don't want to be that person all the time, but don't be afraid to occasionally be the one that gets attention, because it feels like this is a month for you to get that extra attention and visibility. And I feel like you've earned it. All right, let's focus now on the big idea. The big idea is one thing that's going to bring all of these threads together and help you focus on your power. All right, so we have the Queen of Pentacles here, and the Queen of Pentacles is in reverse. So this Queen of Pentacles is basically saying, if there is anything that you need, especially for your own growth or development, this is the time to focus on that. The other thing for this is to focus also on if there's something that you need, to kind of really take into your energy for yourself, don't be afraid to do that. This is absolutely important, absolutely valid. And you deserve this. You've basically opened up this opportunity for yourself, okay? So I like that. And let me see if there's anything else here that I want to talk about. Okay, so when we're looking at this as a card for house and home, taking a look and really deciding, some of you might want to downsize. There may be an opportunity to sell, to release, or to basically say that, I don't need as much. Sometimes we are able to kind of find an efficiency just by focusing on something different. So all of those energies are coming through at this point, okay? Let's take a look now and see blessings and blocks for this period of time. All right. Your blessing is the World card, and your block is the Devil. Everybody's favorite card. All right, so it's interesting that both of these are kind of, they have the same energy of growth around them. I like that actually, because sometimes the difficulty presents also this opportunity for growth and development. So first things first, the blessing. It's basically what I talked about in the Six of Swords slide that I featured earlier. It's saying in this moment in time, you have a chance to expand, explore, and go into a new direction. And to me, that's an exciting movement for you. So yay for all of those things. This could be a chance for a change in your relationship status, in your living situation, or in your job as well. It's change for the better, whether or not it was expected, whether or not it was welcomed. The change is happening to elevate you, to open you up to new things. The block could be holding on to the past. A limiting thought, a limiting vision, could also be something where you understand stepping into it that you probably shouldn't do it, right? I like that we see the shadow. It's called the shadow dance in this deck, and oftentimes this is just the Lovers and the Devil card. They're just different versions of the same energy. Lovers is elevated, the Devil is not. The things that make the Devil not so elevated typically are around control. So if you are entering into something where you're giving away control, or where someone wants too much control, this is a time for you to step in and say, no, thank you to that. If there's something in your life where someone is not fully or readily available, and you know that entering into that, then don't expect a different outcome. So if you want to date someone, but they're still entangled in a relationship, trying to get out of that, it's probably not the right time for that. Let them sort out their relationship. If someone is unavailable emotionally for you and you want to get married or you want to start a family and they're like, I don't really want that, don't get into a relationship and expect that to change. If someone speaks their truth and they're consistent with it, then sometimes the Devil is the expectation of change. We can kind of be that energy of trying to control. So control what you can, release what you can't, be honest with yourself, be honest with others, and expect the same honesty and transparency. If you do that, you're fine. But this is basically, the only block could be doing something when you know better, when you know you shouldn't. And it doesn't always have to be nefarious. It can be as simple as, and this was a long time ago, like 20 years ago for me, but there was one job that I had entered, that was, maybe it was like 15 years ago, but it was basically an in-between job. I knew that I really didn't want to take it. I thought this should just be a freelance thing, but they wanted to hire me. So I took the job, but I couldn't last more than 6 or 8 months because as I signed the contract, it wasn't paying enough. The place didn't have enough work for me and the environment wasn't great. I just took it because it was all that was available. I settled. I wouldn't do that again, but I guess I needed to go through that experience of an unsatisfactory sort of contract. It was one way. They were getting more than I was. So don't get engaged in that. The devil can be something that you see coming. So trust your intuition. All right. Quickly looking at the cards here. Let me see if there's two options for you to vote on, one for me. Well, the one thing that I want to look at is what is that thing that you know better than. So we'll look at the devil and I'll try to clarify that. For you, let me see if there's two things. I'm trying to kind of keep this a little bit less complicated so that we can keep the sort of like speed rolling on this one. So two things to vote on. I think the first thing is how and when to rest. How and where, I should say, to rest, because sometimes we have a hard time doing that. And then I do see opportunity for success and growth. So we can even pull the Seven of Pentacles into that. So opportunities for success and growth. Okay, so you have a chance to vote. I'm going to take a look at clarifying the energy of the devil so that you don't have to find yourself in a limiting pattern or situation, etc. All right. So we have the control card coming through, basically. The Chariot is all about control. I think the main thing here is not to give it away unnecessarily, and to step up to the plate and say what you think. Even if somebody's pushing back, if it's a good idea, if it's the right thing to do, you push right back on that too. At least get it sort of like stated on the record. This is where I stand. This is what I'm interested in. I believe in this or I don't believe in this. Really be clear on that so that in the future, if someone comes back and says, well, why didn't you speak up? You can say, well, actually I did. You didn't listen. And then that way you've at least covered your bases. When it comes to intellectual property, creativity, anything where you might have ownership over it, this is saying you need to maintain some sort of a controlling share in that. So don't sign everything away. And generally speaking, the last piece that I would say with this is if you don't do something, someone else will. This could be a card of opportunity. So if there's something where you have a chance to do it and do it right, and you don't, then someone else may come in and they're not going to do it the way that you would have wanted it done. And therefore, it could be a missed opportunity. So step up if there's something you need to say or need to do. Okay? All right. So let's see what's been chosen for me. Opportunities for success and growth. How to basically, I want to look at two energies here, basically the Six of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So we have the Six of Pentacles, which I was talking about earlier. And this is basically not forgetting the importance of balance and saying no and sort of juggling everything. So the card was reversed, but let's look at it in the upright position. Typically, this is a very different version of it. Typically, there would be someone that's holding scales or holding coins, and there's a lot of outstretched hands saying, can I have some? How about me? Etc. And so basically, understanding where, when, and how often you're willing to give some energy to someone is going to be important. Not over-delivering. So in this case, it's the tree that represents the bounty and the abundance. And the person with the basket is basically with the open hand. So what I like about this is if we look at the metaphor of a tree as being something that's going to not only sort of, it provides multiple levels of sustainability, but you'd want to save some fruit to eat for you. You'd want to save some fruit to plant so there'd be future trees. You want to leave some for nature. It's basically the balance. You don't take it all. You don't want to strip it of its resources because once it's gone, it's gone. Also, an apple's going to last a little bit longer on the tree. Once you pluck it, it's going to start to go, it'll ripen. So kind of figuring out how much do I need now? How much do I need tomorrow? What am I going to plant for the future? It's that sort of energy around success. How can you be successful with this card? By, again, saying yes to what matters, no to what doesn't. It's a matter of using the word no. No, I don't want to do that. Or I can give this much. It's really about being clear and balanced and making sure that you have work-life balance as well, that you're not giving everything to everybody. Okay, let's go ahead now and take a look at the next portion where we focus on the sun, the rising, and the moon sign messages. All right, so let's see what's coming through. sun, rising, moon. All pretty darn good, I have to say. All right, let's take a look at these. So for the sun, we have the Two of Wands and it's in reverse. So the Two of Wands is a visionary card. Typically, you would see someone holding onto a globe, looking out over a turret or a balcony, basically, and saying, here's where I stand, here's what's going on, how am I going to bring this through into the world here? So in this moment in time, never lose your grounding to what's happening. Sometimes with the Two of Wands, you could be focused too much on where your vision is or too much on the practical. And you're somewhere squarely between the two. I'm going to bring the traditional one. As much as that's a beautiful card, it's not sort of indicative of the energy. So in this case, here we go. We'll look at the traditional one. You'll see the person squarely between what was and what can be. The wand behind him actually fastened in place, almost like what you would have like a flag tied to. He's holding the other one. The world is between the two, as is he. And he's looking out at the distance there. So it's saying, this is what's been, this is what can be, this is where I'm at, this is how I'm gonna make it happen. Very present, connected on all levels. What I see with this one is a lack of grounding. And so in this moment in time, as much as we love the fairies kind of flying around here, we need to focus. So don't lose connection with your focus and ground your intentions and really pull some action and actionable sort of goals into place. And that's going to be really, really important for you. Okay. The good news with the Two of Wands is I see some great ideas, some great potential, and all it needs is when, where, and how. So in this month, you're going to decide what you want to focus on, how you're going to do it. And you might have to raise your hands if nobody's sort of like creating that lesson plan, right? All right, moving on to the rising or ascendant. We have the star, and the star is reversed. Star is one of the best cards possible, and it's basically a highly transformational and developmental card. Again, it looks a little bit more like a moth than a butterfly to me, but either way, I like it. When the star is in reversed, it's saying, I'm trying to change myself in order to please others. I'm dimming my light for fear that I might be shining too brightly. I'm keeping my voice down because people didn't like what I had to say. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that means that you're changing yourself for someone else. So if you're falling into any of those categories, really look and see, is this something that you need to do all the time? And if you're doing it all the time, why are you where you are? Because this is giving you a chance to basically reclaim your power and your voice. The star is something that also is visible. So for some of you, you may be dealing with a desire to not want to be seen as much, but the energy is coming through and saying, in this moment in time, your voice, your vision, your sort of special energy is what's going to make everything come together. Don't be afraid of being yourself. Find a place where you can be at home, which is also what I talked about earlier with the Queen of Pentacles. What I like about this is when it comes to the areas of work and social activities, all of which the rising and ascendant can be. It's basically social spheres. You're a star on the rise. You just have to sort of recognize your own star power. Other people may see it before you. Okay? Good messages. Looking now at the moon, we have patience. The Temperance card coming through saying, one step at a time, find the balance that you need in your life, knowing again that at the end of the day, it's you that can establish that, not someone else, that there's no proper sort of like timelines except the ones that you create for yourself. What I do like about this too is finding your footing and also allowing for things to sort of like unfold. The traditional Temperance angel, you see one foot in the water, one foot on the land. We always see her taking the two cups and finding balance. I had a really cool cosmic experience probably a decade ago where one of my guides did this for me with relation to someone in my life that there was a lack of balance, or there was too much of it's almost like previous life karma, where we had kind of fragmented our energy a bit. So maybe it was the Temperance angel, but it had the two of us sort of take the cups and drink until our energy was clear and balanced out. So there is something metaphysical to this card. So take a look at how much you've given to people, to environments, to exchanges in your life, and just make sure you, where necessary, reclaim, call the energy back and say, I've learned my lessons. I've given what I needed to. I've been of service. It's my moment in time. We're going to do that in the meditation. We're going to do a reclamation meditation to call the energy home. You don't have to give away power or energy infinitely or unnecessarily. And that's basically what temperance is saying. Find your balance, find your footing. Don't give more than you need to. Don't rush. It's an important card. It's also saying you're being guided in this moment because it's one of the few cards that has an angel as its prominent character. Judgment has one as well. The Lovers has one, and so does the Devil. You have 3 angels today. One is of temptation, 2 are of guidance. So the temptation can be the feelings like I can't, I won't, etc., because the devil also likes to hold us down with fears and doubts. And then the Lovers are the people around you saying, no, I'm here for you. And I see your power. And the Temperance angel is kind of like taking a little bit of both energies and thinking, what's possible? I'm not going to let my head get too big. I'm not going to let this defeat take me too far. It's the in-between angel. And that's really what you want to be, is temperance, because either of the other ones are extremes, but temperance is right in the middle and makes the right decisions. So I like that this is coming through for the moon sign because I think it's going to put you exactly where you need to be. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at what we've talked about so far and make sure that we've hit on all the major topics. So yes, we looked at the channeled messages, the Celtic Cross, the expanded forecast, big idea, blessings and blocks, viewers and readers' choices, and we just went through sun, rising, and moon. So the meditation today will be followed, as always, by a final card. What I like to do in the final card is give you a chance to ask a question, just in case there's something that you've been dealing with or something that you want to focus on. This will be your chance to get some clarity on that. The meditation today is going to be one of reclamation. I really got inspired with the Temperance Angel. So let's do that. Before I do it, quick reminder, please like and subscribe if you haven't. Later, give me a follow on social. And thank you in advance for anybody that wanted to be a member or give back with super stickers or super chat. Okay, so stick around for a few minutes. This usually takes about 3 minutes, 4 minutes max, but it will set us in the right trajectory for the final card and also for the day ahead. All right, so close your eyes if you will. Take a nice deep breath. Letting go of anything that's feeling heavy, anything that's in your head space too much, just allowing for the breath to clear your mind, your body, and your spirit. Really taking nice, deep, intentional breaths, as many as your body and your mind needs you to take. I'd love for you to focus on an image similar to the sun card, that of the rising sun, imagining that this is a new day that is dawning before you. You could also imagine yourself open-armed, welcoming in that energy and saying, I am ready to receive. And as you're doing that, imagine in this moment that you can connect with a ray of sunshine, and unlike just sort of like this light doesn't stop with you. It's a photon. It's basically going to take you around the planet. Imagine that you could take one turn around the planet and see every life that you had touched, positively or negatively or in between. As you go around the planet, traveling at the speed of light, but kind of taking things in on a slower level, imagine that you could reclaim energy from these people, places, and things, and also the lesson learned. So if there was a love in your past, see how you have affected them in the present, and then pull back whatever you had given to them energetically and say, thank you for the lesson, and I hope that you also got what you needed, but now I need to reclaim my power. Look at the pivotal relationships that you have with bosses, parents, and parental figures in your life. And wherever that sort of gut-wrenching energy comes through, that tug of war back and forth, in this moment in time, take a deep breath as you're traveling around the planet and say, I reclaim my power. Any sort of anger, any sort of sadness, anything that I'd given to them in the form of emotions, and I pull it back into my mind, body, and spirit. And then the fun stuff, the love, the positivity that still exists, that's still ricocheting. Feel a return on that too, and see it sort of like an investment where it's amplified. Now imagine that just like the sun, you're shining and beaming from end to end, like the color of my shirt, this golden light, that you have reclaimed your power, reclaimed your energy, And you are like the Star card, but upright, bright, brilliant, and strong. Okay? Focus on amplifying the signal while I play the singing bowl. Then we'll take a look at your final question. Take a few deep breaths, allow your mind, body, and spirit to come back, and focus on the final question that you have for me today, whatever that might be. And let's take a look and see what the message is for today. Okay, so we have the Four of Cups, which can be a blessing in disguise. A lot of times we don't necessarily see what's in front of us. We don't understand our own potential before it's sort of like blatantly obvious. And so the Four of Cups can be looking at something from a different perspective, listening to external feedback, also looking at an opportunity that sometimes comes through in an unlikely or an inconvenient time even. So we can see in the traditional illustration a grumpy person and only focusing on the Three Cups here. Meanwhile, there's literally a Rider-Waite-Smith Ace card coming through right behind him. So this could be you've decided that you don't want to move, but there's an opportunity to transfer coming through. You're done with love, but you meet the person of your dreams. You know, anything where it's a happy surprise, actually, sometimes. It could also be, you know, deciding that I don't want to deal with this, but it still is persistent and it's there. So there's something that's obvious, that's available, that needs to be resolved. And the sooner you connect with that, resolve that, and acknowledge that, the sooner that some sort of blessing or opportunity can come through for you. Okay? So there could just also be unexpected love or joy that's coming into your life, because this Ace of Cups floating in the background could be new love, new opportunity, new idea, but you have to stay open. And basically there's contrasting energy in this card between someone literally closing off their heart space and then this opening of a heart-centric symbol, the Ace, behind him in the Four of Cups. Okay? And in this card, we just see someone really distracted. There's all these sort of like aquatic creatures around her, and she's just in the mix in the middle. And it almost reminds me of like the neurons in your brain. So there could be a lot of emotional stuff you're swimming in the emotions. And so it's just really about finding that happy space in between. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending some time with me today. We're going to take just a moment to say thanks to everyone. But if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. We're pretty close to a milestone. When I hit the next milestone, and I forget exactly which number, I think it's 50 is next. Yeah. So when it's 350, when I get to that one, so we're about 10,000 away, I will do something special, maybe like another Q&A, and more to come on that. Thank you so much for everybody who's followed me also across social media. I do appreciate it. And I'm going to take a few moments now to say thanks to everybody that gives back here. Again, a reminder, I have to fix my, I did an upgrade earlier today, but just a reminder that I don't do, here, I think I can just pull it up manually. I don't do private readings and I don't use direct messages. So anybody that does that, please report them and know that that's not me. Okay, so I want to take a couple minutes here and just say thank you to the newest members and the newest folks that gave super stickers today, and then we'll wrap up for today. And I may cut this portion out in the future just because it can save a little time, and I'm going to try to go faster with this as well. All right, so today, thank you to, I think it's Nakmeg, thank you, Catherine, Isha, and Simone. I appreciate many of you coming back. I see many of you rejoin, so thank you. For super stickers and super chats today, let's see, kicking things off was Catherine. Thank you also to Monica, Cheryl, Maria, and Harmony. I appreciate all of your presence and your ability to interact today. I hope you enjoyed this. A reminder for my schedule, I do live streams every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. The times vary, so definitely like and subscribe and hit that bell icon. And I also do a more predictable Sunday collective reading around 9 o'clock on Sunday every week. I'm starting to do clips on that too. Let me know if you enjoy the clips. And in the cards below, let me know what you're going to be doing this month to basically reclaim energy or to embark on a new trailblazing opportunity in front of you. So put a little symbol that indicates your trailblazing moment. Let me know. I always like to see what's going on with all of you. All right, folks, have a great day. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your presence. Wishing you much love and happiness. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.